Passion is a good thing. Passion for God and energy that flows from God is good. But time and time again during my research, I found myself feeling a different kind of passion. It was more than just a righteous indignation. It was a downright rage. And looking at the Star Wars movie, I saw myself a lot in Anakin Skywalker, how he was fighting against, the bad people that control the galaxy, whatever. You could equate that to the bad people that control the world. And, it wasn't necessarily the bad people that did something to him that drove him over the edge. It was just random sad people, that was part of it. And, he has a problem with women, and I had a serious breakup with my ex-fiance, and a lot of things with women in life, led me down a dark path. And also, there was death. When I say Rothschild, he didn't lose nobody in the war, because he didn't. He didn't lose family, blood. He lost somebody that recently married into the family. My family lost people during the Nigerian Civil War. I've actually lost family due to your foreign fucking policy. You're investing in the government. Oh, we'll make the world safer by investing in governments in a way that can sustain them. Yeah, you sustain the criminal governments, but the good guys, like the Biafran government, you want nothing to do with, because you're scum. So let me explain how I feel about the traitor Jews, the fake Jews. I love regular Jews. I got no problem with regular Jews. My problem is with the traitor, fake scum. The Zionists and the scum above the Zionists, the occultist Rothschild scum. Okay, so it's very simple. Okay, so when we talk about the movie Star Wars, what is it really about? It's about different people going to war. Like you have the Clone Wars, you have different wars that take place, and all these wars are manipulated by a secret group, and that's how it is in real life. The person who made Star Wars knew that in real life there's one secret group, and that they manipulate every government in the world by having something over their head, by having power over them in different ways. Usually it's simply the fact that they invest into their government, okay? But sometimes it's the fact that they have blackmail means. Sometimes they threaten them with the use of force, regardless of what it is, they have something over their head, and they notice how they respond to that fact. If somebody feels very revolutionary as a result of it, then they treat them like Cuba. If somebody falls in line as a result of it, then they reward them and say, that's how you're supposed to be. To make the example to all the other countries that, hey, this is how you're supposed to be. If you want to be part of this, if you want a slice of the white man's extortion in the future, then you've got to sell out your own people, and you've got to do it this way. And that's how the world works, period. Anybody who thinks that that's not in general how the world works, they're not living in the real world. In the real world, even if you have an idea that's a great idea, you need people to invest in. And who are the major investors? Who are the people that invest things and make things happen? They're the bad guys. So when I think about it, how I feel about it, I saw myself in Anakin Skywalker, because that is the normal response. When somebody does something so horrible to you that is almost unimaginable, and in a way it is, because other people don't believe it even when you spell it out to them, the natural response is to feel hatred and to feel a dark feeling, in your mind and soul. You say these people are scum, and you see it, because as soon as you pay attention to evil, it affects you. And when that evil has to do with you, it affects you all the more. So there came this part in the movie where Anakin was talking to the princess Padme, and he was talking about, well, she didn't really know what he was talking about at first. So let me just read the words, read the part. Okay, he talks about, well, I should be. Someday I will be. I will be the most powerful Jedi ever. I promise you. I will even learn to stop people from dying. Okay, so it had to do with the death of people. Okay, and then he goes on to say, I killed them. I killed them all. They're dead, every single one of them. And not just the men, but the women and the children too. They're like animals. and I slaughtered them like animals. I hate them. And that, my friends, is how you can predict anybody to feel when they've been done wrong. And it doesn't have to be done wrong by the New World Order. They don't have to get that. They can be done wrong by the other tribe, like in the Nigerian Civil War or the Rwandan Civil War, you know, the Hutu and Tutsis. So regardless of where it is, you know, once the bankers have manipulated and caused a war, when they decided it's in their benefit, because they're not going to cause a war and make it hard for a country to pay back their debt if it's not in their benefit. But if it is, they're all for it, because they're about making money and making sure that the future policy is made in a way that allows them to make even more money. So they'll sacrifice people and business opportunities for the bigger picture. They have what's called a business plan, okay? Once you understand the Illuminati business plan, and it's a global business plan that involves global politics, the World Bank, which is also known as the International Bank, the main instruments of change in the future is the World Bank, because they loan money to third world countries that allow them to build up their infrastructure and to increase their GDP and their exports. And once you understand that it's these cocksuckers who make the money, forget, get it out of your head where the money's made. You have to understand who's making the money. In Africa, in the diamond mine, yeah, there's a lot of money to be made in the diamond industry, but who's making it? A bunch of foreign people, okay? Same thing with the future of the gross domestic products, okay? The future of nations' GDPs all over the world, every nation's GDP, the world's GDP, if you will, okay? The future of that is in the hands of a bunch of bad people, okay? So no matter what you invent, no matter what you do, money talks, okay? The things people do talk, but who do we remember in history? Most people couldn't tell you what American president was president during World War II, but they could tell you who was in charge of the Nazis during World War II. Most Americans couldn't tell you what British prime minister was in charge of England, of Britain during World War II. But they could tell you who was in charge of the Nazis. They couldn't tell you who was in charge of the French. They couldn't tell you who was in charge of the Japanese, but they could tell you who's in charge of the Nazis, because it doesn't take a genius to figure out that bad people, the worst people, are the ones who make change in this world, not the good people. I challenge you, my viewers, to find one person in history that's a good person, that you can call the most influential person in history. You will not be able to do it, no way. Okay, you might come up with, Socrates and Herodotus. Please. If you think those are the most influential people in history, then you're off your rocker. But for me, it's not very hard for me to come up with the most influential people in history. If we're talking about modern history, then it would probably be Adam Weishaupt, okay? Or somebody in the Rothschild family. These are the people who change history. These are the people who make the future. When they tell little kids in school, the future, you are the future, you are the future, they're lying. They're lying, and they know they're lying. The future is in the hands of a bunch of institutions who practice institutional racism as their general policy. The foreign policy of America is the most racist fucking white power policy that's ever been written in history. People are just so out of touch that they don't see it that way. Thank you.